What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we've got a couple more Destiny 2 related topics that I want to talk about. There's actually been a new ranking system and progression tracker that's been slowly put into the game through several recent updates. There's also some designs for improving vendors and NPCs, which Bungie actually responded to, in addition to a couple other things as well. So let's begin with talking about this new ranking or progression system, which has been added into the game through several recent updates actually. It seems to be something to improve the endgame and make the NPCs and vendors more meaningful, which would definitely give you more stuff to do, and especially in terms of ranks, which has been a big complaint. The fact you can't actually see your vendor ranks in the actual game, but have to go to third-party sites to see them. So as we know, Bungie are constantly adding some hidden things into the game files with updates and patches, and one of those things added just a few days ago was found by a Reddit user called Spiffamatic64, and he discovered that in a recent update they added the ranking system or kind of progression XP tracker called Clarion Call. That is the name of it, pretty weird name, but Clarion Call is this kind of name of the system. So the system itself was added into the game in a recent update, but then in an even more recent update, the system was actually activated, and now it's tracking data of ranks, progressions, NPCs, all that kind of XP. Now, obviously, this system isn't fully live yet inside the actual game, it's just being tested, and in the back end of the game, it's right now being active, and it's tracking all of our players' data in certain activities. So each of the vendors are also involved with this. We have Cade 6 has issued a Clarion Call experience gain for Hunters. There's also, of course, one for Zavala for Titans, a Core Array for Warlocks. There's stuff for locations as well. So Sloan has issued a Clarion Call experience gain for activities on Titan. You got the same thing for Failsafe on Nessus, the EDZ, and IO. There's also Shax offering one for Crucible, and Hawthorne issuing one for Clanmates. So the activities are as follows. We have Vanguard Research, Raid Success, Dead Orbit, Nightfall Success, Sloan, Devon K, Clan Level, Vanguard Tactical, which is different from Vanguard Research, the Crucible, Ashamir, Vanguard Tactical again, Nightfall Success again, Leviathan, Failsafe, Future War Cult, Iron Banner, Legend, and New Monarchy. So those are the several kind of vendors, NPCs, so pretty much every single one inside the game that we can do, and the Clarion Call applies to all of those. It's tracking data right now for all of those different things. Obviously, there are some missing from that list. I noticed Trials wasn't there, but most activities have this applied. So the kinds of data it's tracking is for current progress, daily limit, daily progress, level, level cap, next level at, progress to next level. There's weekly limit, weekly progress, and also progress to next step scaling, which is the most interesting one, because if you think about it, inside most of our NPCs and factions, there's no progress scaling, so each level is the same amount of XP or tokens. There's no difference between the levels, so level 1 is the same as level 50, for example, but this Clarion Call has the ability to progress scale, meaning that level 1 to 2 is going to be easier than level 50 to 51, for example. So once again, this seems to be the backbone of a kind of ranking or progression system for pretty much every activity in the game, as you saw. Now, if Bungie decide to properly flesh this out and implement it, is a whole different question. We could just be looking at some old code. Again, this was recently put into the game. It wasn't here at launch, and only a couple of days ago in recent updates, this was put here. So it could be something we see in game properly fleshed out, or it could just be some kind of leftover random stuff that we don't ever see in game. Obviously, just last week, we had the rumor of Prison of Elders possibly returning in Destiny 2, which was shut down by Bungie. They confirmed it was just some leftover code and means nothing, and Cosmo even said they're not going to put Prison of Elders into Destiny 2, so ignore that code. So this could be a similar thing, but either way, any kind of improvement to the endgame that lets us rank up, have daily or weekly rewards and progress, and generally have more stuff to do with these vendors would definitely be welcomed, and hopefully it's an example of Bungie testing out ways to improve the endgame. So the next thing I want to talk about actually ties in perfectly with what I just mentioned about improving vendors and making them more meaningful, and this was actually a concept made up by a Reddit user called Tiredness, and they basically fleshed out completely what a vendor or NPC should look like and how we should be able to interact with them with ranks, new loot rewards, and kind of exclusive stuff. And this was a really, really good idea. Again, this is completely fan-made, but Bungie actually responded to this, which is really interesting. So firstly, looking at what the concept actually is about, we can see a DevMK here, and it's a ranking system, pretty similar to what I just talked about with the whole Clarion Call system, but this is a fan's idea of what it could look like. So you can see DevMK rank 21, and there's a bunch of stuff at separate ranks. So at rank 5, you got basic things like shaders, emblems, and a random EDZ mod, a blue one. At rank 10, you might get something like an EDZ ship, a cloak, an emblem, a Devrim's gift weapon. At rank 15, you get some more better stuff, more legendary items. The interesting thing is heroic sector keys, which should be very cool. So heroic lost sectors. there's legendary random EDZ mods, and then at rank 20 you'd start getting mystic EDZ grams, you'd get random EDZ auras and ghost shells. The aura thing looks really cool. Imagine having like planetary auras all themed for that planet. That would be really, really cool. There's also rank 25 exotic quests and then resources at the bottom. So this would be kind of a fleshed out idea of how vendors or NPCs could look in the game. Now, Cosmo, who if you don't know is one of the Bungie community managers, actually replied to this post and said, "It's a good looking mock-up, I'll make sure the designers see it, thanks for taking the time to put it together and post it." So it's pretty cool that this is actually going to be shown to the designers as concepts of how to actually improve this kind of stuff. And obviously, as we've seen recently in Bungie Weekly Update blog posts, Bungie have said they're looking into the end game and trying to figure out and discuss how they can make it better. So this is going to be something they're going to take into account. Now, obviously, Bungie isn't going to simply just take this and put it straight into the game and copy and paste what this guy posted, and especially to avoid legal and copyright issues, they'll come up with their own system. And as I showed earlier on in the video with the whole Clarion system, it is something they're working on. So hopefully they're going to take some of this stuff and feedback and kind of figure out a better system for vendors, NPCs, and the most part the end game, which is obviously a big thing the community wants right now. So in terms of some other things happening recently for Destiny 2, there was a particular emote causing some trouble that lets you glitch into walls, and it was funny enough on sale from Tess Everest at one point from the direct purchases you can buy from Bright Dust. Now, Bungie sneakily took out on a hotfix. They have the ability to make small changes without the need for a full-on update, and to prevent masses of people being able to get the emote very easily, it was then removed, which is why there was an empty slot here. Now, of course, the new update will be deployed soon with a light fix for the raid exploit, and if all goes well, the Prestige raid should be launching tomorrow, and then a couple other things happening within the week. So after the Prestige raid, the challenge mode raid is going to be announced and detailed. There's also going to be the Bungie live stream about seasons, endgame, the live events, and what's to come. And then next week, of course, is the PC launch of Destiny 2, which I'm massively excited for. The game just looks unbelievable on PC, so I'm definitely excited to hop on there. And then once it's out on all platforms, there's, of course, a lot of hopes and speculations that maybe Bungie is going to release some kind of time-gated content. So there you go, some pretty interesting stuff about the progression system that Bungie are testing, as well as that vendor system that Bungie is going to be looking at for feedback. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did and want to help support the channel, then a like rating would be very much appreciated. You can, of course, click the image on screen right now to watch a video I made talking about some Overwatch Easter eggs and Osiris DLC info, and I'll see you guys next one.